When I started speedrunning Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, I thought it would be pretty boring. The story mode is pretty much a series of battles, so it would simply be a matter of figuring out the best combo and then repeating it over and over for as long as the run was. I was dead wrong. Not only does the best combo change constantly as you play with 12 different versions of Goku plus 3 Vegetos, fights actually have different requirements to be finished. Some of them are straightforward, you just defeat the opponent as fast as possible, but others are all about triggering certain lines of dialogue as quickly as you can. This means that mastering the speedrun requires learning 15 different characters and how to optimally clear all 38 encounters, each one of them unique in their own way. And this is only one of the many categories available on speedrun.com for Sparking Zero. I'm going with the Goku story canon percent, that is the entire Goku story from Raditz to Jiren following the canon path, but you could pick any character here or even clearing tournament modes if you want. The Goku leaderboard seemed to be the most competitive, so that's the one I went for. I was able to quickly get the world record on console, but on the PC side of things, I was gonna face off against Infamous, my speedrunning rival on Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. And right now, he's got a time of 46:52, way faster than my console time. And so the run starts on selecting this mission right here. But you may notice, my timer doesn't start moving immediately. That's because PC runs come with a load time remover. This automatically pauses the timer anytime you're on a loading screen, so basically it just counts when you are in battle. PC speedruns often have this, so faster machines or more powerful machines don't have an unfair advantage over other speedrunners. That does begin to explain why his time is so much faster than mine, but also he's just really good as well. The first Raditz is done pretty quickly, we move on to the second, and in this fight, defeating him is not the primary objective, it is actually triggering a Piccolo voice line as soon as possible. But Piccolo only starts talking when Raditz has 2.5 bars. Unfortunately, I dropped the combo, that's why you see me go for this sweep reset into Kamehameha so I can get that final burst of damage really quickly.
If you've got a new special attack hidden up your sleeve, now's the time to use it, Goku.
Now that Piccolo has started talking, he's gonna be yapping for a really long time, and the fight doesn't end until he does. So even though our combos are a bit scuffed here, we have plenty of time to finish this fight optimally. That's Raditz done, we move on to Nappa. Nappa is the first normal fight in this run. That means all we gotta do is deplete his entire health bar as quickly as possible. As you can see, we have a pretty high damaging combo, and we reset the opponent right in their face constantly as well. This is as close to a perfect Nappa as it gets, maybe with the exception of the end right here. I reset Nappa into a Kamehameha for that last health bar, and it looks optimal, but upon further research, I found out that if you just finish the combo normally, you can hear that glass shattering effect as soon as the health bar is empty.
Oh, right! You're the...
However, if you finish with a super, yes, you get that quick burst of damage, but look at how long it takes for the game to give you that ending.
Goku, show that musclehead who's...
So yeah, for a lot of these fights, if you're triggering dialogue, it's worth resetting into a blast, but if you're not, it might be better to just stick with melee combos all the way. The Vegeta fight is pretty straightforward. I was even able to trap him in the corner, being even more optimal. However, Vegeta has a skill called Explosive Wave, which he can use whenever he gets 2 skill points, and of course, he uses it immediately. He also shoots a scripted Gallic gun after a certain voice line. It's pretty hard to skip this, so you just gotta be ready to block it or dodge it. And then we have the fight that broke the internet, Great Ape Vegeta. But your internet should never be broken with Surfshark VPN. That is a weird segue. I'm gonna stick with it. And I've stuck with Surfshark as a sponsor because they are the only VPN that has reached the coverage of 100 countries, meaning you can browse the web as if you were on any of them. Traveling doesn't get any faster than that. Besides, I've tested my internet speed with and without my VPN enabled, and look at this side by side, I am not losing anything. So you can stay optimal and also be safer if you follow my link down below, which will give you an extra 4 months for free when you sign up at surfshark.com/globku. No matter the device you use, it's got apps for everything: PC, Mac, iPhone, Android, even gaming consoles. And you can log in on all of those at the same time. You can even have the VPN running on all of those at the same time as well. It runs on unlimited devices simultaneously with only one account. But the most important part for me is the 30-day money-back guarantee. So you can try it out completely risk-free, and if it's not for you, just ask for your money back. It's very straightforward. This is an easy one for me to recommend. I've used Surfshark for more than 2 years now, and I've never had a single complaint. So go to surfshark.com/globku, get 4 extra months for free. The link is down below, and thank you Surfshark for sponsoring this video. For Great Ape, I like to fly up and to the left. The plan is simple. You just spam Kamehamehas. But the further away from you he is, the more beams have to travel. So it's good if you're shooting him from above, keeping him as close to you as possible. Vegeta did start strafe dodging here, which wasn't very optimal for me, but most of the fight was good anyway, so this wasn't a big issue. Saiyan Saga done with just over 4 minutes on the clock. The Namek Saga kicks off and we're playing as Goku mid now. Fortunately, even though the combo is visually different, the inputs are exactly the same for every base Goku. During this fight, your damage is incredibly buffed, which is why I went for this Kamehameha reset on Butter. I was hoping to kill him here. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to chase and finish him normally, so a bit of a time loss. Ginyu is pretty straightforward. He has a scripted blast that you gotta look out for. I interrupted it by accident, but was also ready to vanish in case I didn't. Other than that, you just kinda have to wait for the voice lines to conclude.
Your strength is unbelievable. Yeah, I think I'll take it. What do you mean by that?
And it's time for Frieza. This fight begins with a clash, and unfortunately I missed the first button, so you gotta do all 3 buttons here. And in this fight you gotta get Frieza down to 2 health bars as soon as possible. So Goku starts talking about the Spirit Bomb. At this point he's gonna throw a scripted Spirit Bomb, and then the fight just ends automatically, taking us to a new form of Goku. For this fight, you start in sparking mode, but that's actually pretty bad for the speedrun. So we begin by jumping forward and throwing our quickest super. This Goku has a pretty bad super during this fight, which is unfortunate as we only get 4k damage out of this. But at least now we're out of sparking mode, so we can start doing our combo. And because this is Super Saiyan Goku, the inputs do change significantly. It's the same combo theory, but the finishers are in different spots. And maybe that's why I dropped my first combo and then have to chase Frieza down. This fight was overall really scuffed as I'm getting used to the new combo route with Super Saiyan. But somehow, even though I dropped multiple times, I managed to keep Frieza close to me and finish this arc in just under 8 minutes. The Cell Saga is actually really short from Goku's point of view. It starts with a very standard fight against Android 19. We're still Super Saiyan, but this time I kinda played it perfectly, so the time with Frieza definitely helped here. But from 19, we go straight to Cell. Now, Cell is a bit of an asshole in this run. Much like Vegeta, he has explosive waves, so he can interrupt your combos with just 2 skill points, but is gonna do it much more often. I am frustrated after this rough start, so I meshed the auto combo, which is pretty bad. But then, I am able to trap Cell in his own arena, and suddenly, this is the best Cell fight I have ever done. Cell Jr. also went out without a hitch, which is not normal. He also has explosive wave, so he could actually interrupt combos once he gets to 2 bars, but he just let me reset over and over until Gohan yells, "I can't stop, Gohan, I'm speedrunning!" And it's time for the Buu Saga. There's not much to this Majin Vegeta fight. There's a lot of dialogue to go through, so even if you mess up a bit, you're still gonna clear it as fast as possible, because you gotta wait for dialogue. This is Super Saiyan 2 now, so the combo route is once again different, so it is at the very least a very good fight to get used to it, because we're gonna need it for this next encounter. Fighting against Buu, you start in the base form, and Buu actually fought back a bit, which cost me some time at the start here, but as soon as we went up into the air, things were pretty smooth, both in base form, as well as Super Saiyan 2, and finally Super Saiyan 3, which yes, has another combo route. I finished the combo quickly with a beam because when Buu gets at this low health, Goku starts talking about Trunks, and that is actually what triggers the end of the battle. And we skip a lot of the Buu Saga after this fight because the next time Goku is involved is when he fuses into Vegito. You play as base Vegito for a short time, but you gotta drop the combo on purpose so he can transform into Super Vegito. If you delay here, you delay the dialogue, and that's a massive time loss. Now this is a very straightforward fight, except Buu has a scripted ultimate that he's gonna throw. I was able to skip this sometimes, but it feels like it's pure RNG, so in this run, we just dodge it, and then the fight ends after they talk a little bit more. It is important to dodge it, however, because the ultimate is unblockable, so you cannot just sit in his face. Finally, Super Saiyan 3 versus Kid Buu is the last battle in Dragon Ball Z, and the priority is getting Kid Buu to 1.5 health bars. So we can trigger this voice line where Vegeta goes, "Kakarot!" At this point, the fight ends when the dialogue finishes, meaning we're able to beat Dragon Ball Z in just over 15 minutes of game time. Onward to the movies, and against Beerus, you want to do the same you did with Kid Buu. You want to get him to 1.5 health bars more or less. But unfortunately, when I tried to reset him into a beam, I was too slow, and Beerus was able to block my Kamehameha. This means it took me a bit longer to trigger the final dialogue, but hey, there's always room for improvement, right? The Frieza fight is very unique. Simply killing Frieza is easy to do quickly, so the trick here is to drop combos after certain points in the dialogue. You need to make sure no one is comboing so the game game can automatically trigger transformations, first with Goku going blue, and then with Frieza going golden. At this point, Frieza is almost dead, but he's gonna talk for a long time, so it's mostly just waiting for dialogue. In this game, the Goku Black arc is pretty big, so we're gonna be here for a while. It starts with base Goku versus Goku Black, and here you just do the combo over and over. Unfortunately, I mashed too much. So my second combo is gonna drop, and even though I recovered quickly, this small time loss means that I'm not finishing Goku Black before Goku's scripted transformation. Normally, I'd be able to finish this fight if it wasn't for that drop, so not only is this a time loss for dropping a combo, it's a time loss because we didn't skip the transformation. Then we fight against Zamasu, which is pretty straightforward, followed by a couple of battles in the future against both Goku Black and Zamasu. These fights are very heavy on dialogue, but a lot of it only triggers once you deplete their health. It can be a little frustrating to watch them yap with only a pixel left in a speedrun, but as long as a pixel is all they have left, once you reach a certain point in the dialogue, Trunks comes in and...
This time I'll fight!
The second fight is kind of the same, but you start on Zamasu and then move on to Goku Black, so the opposite. And you trigger a voice line on Goku Black when he is almost down, wait for that to finish, and once again the fight ends on its own. And then the third fight is all about getting Goku Black to 3.5 bars, so he fuses with Zamasu after saying,
Kneel before our radiance!
After the fusion, it's pretty straightforward. You'll just keep comboing until he goes down and move on to the next fight where you can use Vegito once again. You start as base Vegito, and much like the fight against Buu, you only stay in this form for a very short time. Make sure you drop the combo after this voice line so he can transform, and you get Vegito Blue. And you can finally finish Zamasu off as fast as possible without him going on an infinite rant about his plans with only a pixel of health. Goku Black is done under 27 minutes, time for the Tournament of Power, which is our final arc. Now you might be thinking, wow, Globku is definitely gonna get the world record. He's gotta beat 4652 and all he's got left is the Tournament of Power now. Yeah, the thing is, this arc alone is close to 20 minutes. It is by far the biggest in the run, and it's also the one that has the biggest asshole of them all. But it starts pretty chill, fighting against Majin Buu, who is a very straightforward encounter, and I did this one pretty cleanly. This is as close to perfect as it gets. But then the actual tournament begins against Caulifla, and hey, why isn't this stage playable in multiplayer? This is so much better than the cluttered mess that we're about to find ourselves in. Anyway, Caulifla went pretty smooth, but next we're gonna have to fight against Berserker Kill, which is an armored opponent, and that makes me change my combo route slightly. I start with flying kicks right away to break her super armor and try to reset her that way, but any mistake can really cost you some time here, and this stage really isn't helping. Ironically, I dropped the combo when the stage wasn't even an issue, but luckily she didn't go too crazy after that. We're able to take her down, and in comes Jiren for the very first time. Now Jiren is gonna start holding down the perception button, and turns out a lot of these combos we've been doing are fake. If the computer is holding perception, it's gonna hurt. And Jiren doesn't just do that, he completely messes up my run here until I remember that this Goku has instant transmission. So I'm able to get his back and finish him quickly after that.
What's that weird smell?
I swear it wasn't me, even though I kinda haven't showered in a while trying to master this run. But Rosie and Ribrianne are both very straightforward in this encounter. The biggest opponents here are really my combo drops and the stage itself, which wasn't too bad in this case. Next we have one of the biggest obstacles of this run. No, it's not Dispo, he is pretty straightforward, but Hit, who comes afterwards. And my burst dash is immediately blocked by this rock because this stage is so good. Even though I got his back, Hit turns around immediately by holding the perception button when I try to reset him, making things much harder. Once in a while, he will also try to do vanishing assaults, and if those hit, you are sent flying and waste a bunch of time. But at this point, because you just fought Dispo as well, you should have a lot of skill points, so revenge counter is your best friend whenever Hit actually catches you. This fight is always messy for me, but I'm pretty happy with how I did here. Oh look, it's Jiren again, and he's gonna use Explosive Wave Frame 1. Jiren gets progressively tougher and more unpredictable, and you gotta fight him like 7 different times. Your strategy is the same, but you just gotta be ready to adjust whenever he gets out of a combo. This time, however, you don't need to damage him too much before Goku starts talking about the Spirit Bomb. At this point, I knock Jiren away and charge all the way to Sparking mode. The Spirit Bomb is locked, it only unlocks after a few voice lines, so I use this time to fly behind the Tournament of Power pillar. The fight will end as soon as you throw the Spirit Bomb, so it's okay if you miss. In fact, it's better for the speedrun, so you don't have to wait for the whole animation of the attack actually landing. Sometimes Jiren misbehaves and tries to chase you, but this time, we're able to miss the attack completely. And guess what? We are fighting Jiren once again, this time as Ultra Instinct Sign. This version of the character is the one I struggle the most with a combo, but since fighting Jiren has so much scrambling anyway, and this fight is mostly waiting for dialogue, it's not too bad yet. fight. After some lines, the Pride Troopers take over Jiren's spot, and this Buu actually starts throwing hands, forcing me to use Revenge Counter. But after that, his fighting spirit was just gone. For Toppo, I decided to use my 2 skill points to buff Goku, so we would deal some extra damage. Not sure if it's worth it or not, but it felt like a good idea at the time. And once you reach Toppo's last health bar, Jiren talks and the battle ends. Goku loses his Ultra Instinct and goes back to fighting against Caulifla. He automatically transforms before she is defeated, and after a couple of voice lines, Kale comes in and you can defeat her as soon as possible. Kefla is up next, and we're back to Goku Blue. I actually really like Goku Blue's combo. Somehow I feel very comfortable with this character. So even though the stage geometry is really trying to get in the way, this fight goes super smoothly, taking us into our second and final giant of the run, Anilaza. The method is pretty much the same as Great Ape, but he's gonna start with a super every time. So you gotta block or vanish that, and I did neither. Then you just get up and throw Kamehamehas and hope he doesn't dodge too many of them, because he is strafing all the time. I think overall I missed 1 Kamehameha in this run, so not too bad, and we're through to the final Jiren battles. The next 2 battles against Jiren are pretty quick and are mostly just waiting for dialogue to conclude, so nothing worth pointing out here. After that, we have the main show, Ultra Instinct versus Jiren. You start as UI Sign, but this doesn't last very long, so I try to spend my meter before transforming, because when you go Mastered Ultra Instinct, you get full meter once again. I really like Goku's combo in this form, but it took me a while to adjust. So there's gonna be a couple of drops here, but the goal is to take Jiren as low as possible. Once he only has a pixel left, he lets out a yell, and then he transforms, refilling the entire health, and you gotta deal with him all over again. But after those drops at the start, the adjustment was quick, and this was really smooth. Jiren even tried to do his explosive attack right at the end, but my combo was too tight and ended up interrupting him. At this point, I'm looking at the timer and I'm thinking, this is really possible. This could be the world record right here, as we're about to enter the final fight. Jiren always starts with a super, and usually you can dodge this, but this time I messed up and got knocked away. Also, he uses Explosive Wave as soon as I touch him. This is usually the case with Jiren. With every character, you kind of have to look out for Revenge Counter as soon as they have 2 bars of meter, but if you get their backs, they can't use Revenge Counter. Jiren has Explosive Wave, and you will use it to break your combo all the time. I get right back in his face, and I'm able to put him in this corner. Now, this combo is nearly perfect. There is a drop here. He's going to use Perception. Fortunately, he drops it, and I'm able to get in right away and restart the combo immediately. Now, I did drop it there, but he used Explosive Wave anyway, so that didn't matter. And I accidentally got his back too, which was pretty lucky. A couple more combos, a couple more resets. He turns around automatically by holding Perception, which is unfortunate. I Revenge Counter to get back into it, and let's see what he does next. Another Perception, and this sidestep to dodge his attack was just brilliant. That said, I got too nervous and dropped the combo. I meshed too hard, but I get back in his face, and his health bar is really low here, so we are able to get the win. But the timer only stops when the dialogue ends, and we're trying to beat 46:52, so please clock, you gotta stop. You gotta end the dialogue. Let me press X to move on. Oh my god, it's still ticking. And there it is, folks. 46:50. A new world record by only 2 seconds. Now, there is plenty of room to improve if you guys want to run this yourselves. You can definitely do better, especially on the console side. The run was not optimized at all. And if you're not into Goku, there are a lot of other speedruns that are much shorter if you're looking for something smaller. If you're looking to get a little bit more out of Sparking Zero, this speedrun was a lot more fun than I was expecting, so I highly recommend it. Almost as much as today's sponsor, Surfshark. The link is down below for you to get those 4 extra months for free. And for more speedruns, check out the end of Dragon Ball Z on Kakarot, the last DLC that we got so far. Thanks for watching. Boy.